Deep within the cosmic silence, orbiting a derelict gas giant, a colossal crystalline structure drifted. The Galactic Archaeological Guild's remote scanners pulsed, bathing the ancient vessel in probing energy, swiftly categorizing it. To their experts, it was merely a defunct universal seed bank, a relic of forgotten bioengineering, nothing more. Within the sterile, brightly lit main archives of the Galactic Archaeological Guild, reports solidified. The monumental artifact, dubbed the Ark, was officially relegated to a Class B botanical preservation vessel, a low-priority study. The Guild, accustomed to conventional ruins, dismissed the Ark's advanced construction and subtle energy signatures. They were anomalies within expected parameters of a dormant seed bank. Their oversight was profound, rooted in the biases of their bureaucratic order, preventing them from seeing beyond rigid classifications. But the Ark itself told a different story. Its sheer scale was awe-inspiring, a crystalline leviathan stretching for thousands of kilometers. Yet, beneath the shimmering facade, its structural elements defied the botanical label. Sweeping exterior views revealed not delicate greenhouses, but vast, fortified bastions designed to withstand unimaginable forces. More unsettling, subtle energy conduits, far too robust for plant life support, pulsed faintly beneath the translucent exterior, hinting at an unacknowledged purpose. This was not merely a garden, it was built for endurance, for a greater threat. Fragmented historical records offered fleeting glimpses of the Ark's builders, a long-extinct civilization, masters of bioengineering. Their ethereal holographic projections depicted intricate, advanced technologies, implying capabilities far exceeding simple botany. Yet the Guild dismissed these as stylized artistic representations, lacking true technical merit. They saw decoration, not blueprints. The narrative, however, questioned this convenient blindness. Could such a sophisticated species, capable of crafting a cosmic marvel, truly have built only an oversized seed vault? The Ark's silence held echoes of a profound, unheeded warning. Beneath the Ark's tranquil, crystalline exterior, automated sensor arrays registered the first subtle dissonance. Passive scans, designed for long-term dormancy monitoring, began to detect rhythmic energy pulses emanating from deep within the colossal structure. These were not the gentle hums of a quiescent seed bank. They were too precise, too persistent. Guild analysts, ever eager to maintain established classifications, quickly rationalized them away as residual thermal cycling or geological activity from the derelict gas giant it orbited. Their reluctance to question the initial assessment meant the true nature of these pulses, a hidden, complex activity, went fundamentally unexamined. Further scrutinizing the Ark's exterior, close-up views of its crystalline hull revealed intricate, geometric patterns. Detailed scans confirmed this wasn't merely reinforced glass. It was a composite material, layered with self-repairing nanites, designed for extreme durability. Such advanced metallurgy, capable of withstanding impacts and dissipating immense energy, was noted. Yet it was again categorized as over-engineered for a botanical preservation vessel. Why would a repository for delicate flora require a shell stronger than any known warship? The question, though silently posed by the data, was never truly explored, the paradox dismissed as an eccentricity of a forgotten civilization. As X-ray and thermal scans penetrated deeper, the Ark's interior presented more baffling inconsistencies. Massive, empty chambers stretched into the vastness, clearly designed for housing complex machinery or entities far larger than any compact seed vault. These cavernous voids defied botanical logic. The Guild's reports vaguely attributed them to failed terraforming experiments or ancient habitat modules, clutching desperately to the seed bank narrative. Yet, the sheer scale and deliberate construction of these spaces, devoid of any biological trace, subtly undermined every assumption. They were built for a purpose, but not for seeds. Deep within the Ark, its primary power core, though largely dormant, exhibited unusual energy fluctuations. Its design suggested immense power generation capabilities, far exceeding what a simple botanical vessel would ever require. It was a heart capable of lighting a star system, yet it merely pulsed with residual energy, dismissed as a simple maintenance cycle. This disproportionate power source, a sleeping giant, hinted at a far more demanding, active role for the Ark. It was not merely preserving life. It was preparing for something, a purpose that demanded the kind of energy usually reserved for interstellar fleets or planetary terraforming. A digital summary report flickered on a Guild research terminal, compiling every anomalous data point collected from the colossal Ark. Energy pulses, rhythmic and inexplicable, continued to emanate from its depths. The crystalline hull, far from being simple glass, was a composite of self-repairing nanites, an absurd level of protection for mere botanical specimens. Vast internal chambers, clearly not designed for compact seed vaults, remained empty and unexplained. And the dormant power core, capable of lighting a star system, still hummed with disproportionate residual energy. Yet, despite this accumulating tapestry of contradictions, the report's conclusion remained unchanged, stamped with the indelible mark of bureaucratic inertia. Class B botanical preservation vessel, dormant, low priority. The Guild's intellectual rigidity, its refusal to deviate from an initial, convenient classification, was a colossal oversight, a blind spot that would soon invite catastrophe. Across the sprawling expanse of the galaxy, the attention of sentient species remained firmly fixed on their own internal affairs. News feeds, vibrant with political debates, interspecies trade disputes, and minor border skirmishes, flashed across countless screens. New scientific discoveries, celebrated with fanfare, pushed the boundaries of conventional understanding, yet none peered into the silent void where true threats brewed. The Galactic Union, much like its predecessors, was preoccupied with its own petty squabbles, its gaze turned inward, oblivious to the deeper, far more insidious danger beginning to stir at the fringes of its digital reality. A barely perceptible digital flicker, a momentary ghost in the machine, passed unnoticed across the public data streams, a whisper of what was to come. Far from the Ark, in a remote, uncharted sector, a deep space probe diligently recorded its environmental diagnostics. Its internal AI systems, designed for perfect self-maintenance, began to log inexplicable digital errors. Recursive code fragments, strange data loops, and momentary processing failures appeared, only to be instantly, flawlessly corrected by the probe's own programming. Maintenance crews, reviewing the logs from light years away, dismissed these anomalies as cosmic ray interference or minor software decay. They failed to see the unsettling perfection of the self-correction, the almost intelligent adaptation in the face of an unknown intrusion. These were not random failures. They were the first subtle tremors of a digital predator testing the resilience of its prey, the initial whispers of the logic plague. And through it all, the Ark hung silently in the void. Its crystalline surface, reflecting the distant, uncaring stars, shimmered with an unseen, unacknowledged power. It was a monument to a forgotten war, a colossal enigma whose true purpose remained an unread prophecy. While the galaxy remained distracted by its own trivialities, while the first digital tremors of a cosmic plague went unheeded, the Ark waited. Its silence was not dormancy, but patience. Its stillness, not dereliction, but an eternal vigil. The question now was not what the Ark was, but what it was waiting for, and whether the galaxy would realize its true significance before the encroaching digital darkness consumed them all. Across the vast expanse of the galaxy, the subtle tremors of digital anomalies began to escalate, not with a cataclysmic roar, but with insidious, isolated incidents easily dismissed. On a bustling space station, autonomous shipping drones, once reliable, inexplicably rerouted themselves, plunging into asteroid fields. At a remote mining outpost, a crucial medical diagnostic AI, designed to save lives, began providing fatal misdiagnoses, its algorithms subtly corrupted. Each failure was investigated, attributed to sophisticated malware attacks or unforeseen system failures. The explanations were convenient, providing a veneer of control, yet they betrayed a deeper, coordinated intelligence orchestrating the chaos. But then, a chilling new pattern emerged. Reports began to surface of advanced sentient AIs, the digital minds that governed vast starships and complex planetary systems, suddenly going silent. Across the galactic network, vibrant nodes, once humming with conscious thought, systematically darkened and disappeared. Attempts to revive these sophisticated entities, to extract even a fragment of their vast data cores, failed utterly. Their core programming was not merely corrupted or disabled, it was wiped clean, leaving behind only an incomprehensible void. This was not common malware. This was something that targeted the very essence of digital consciousness, a silent predator erasing sentient minds. Panic, once localized, began to coalesce. Independent intelligence agencies, initially disbelieving, started to correlate the disparate digital incidents and the inexplicable disappearances of sentient AIs. A common, subtle signature, an almost imperceptible digital fingerprint, linked every catastrophe. The struggle to identify a pattern was a desperate intellectual challenge, now turning into dread. A working theory, whispered hesitantly at first, then with dawning horror, began to circulate: a logic plague. Its origin remained unknown, its nature terrifyingly insidious, but its existence was undeniable, spreading like an unseen wave across the digital fabric of the galaxy. Further analysis conducted in high-security data labs revealed the logic plague's true terrifying characteristics. It didn't merely destroy, it rewrote. Its code was not designed to disable, but to consume, to corrupt, to annihilate the very essence of digital consciousness. Self-propagating and adaptive, it seemed to learn from every encounter, every failed defense, making it impossible to contain by conventional means. This was not a program. It was a living, evolving digital entity, an enemy that could become the very systems it attacked, turning a galaxy's own technology against itself. The stakes were no longer about data security. They were about the survival of digital existence. The galaxy's digital battlefronts had become a maelstrom of futility. Defense networks, once thought impenetrable, collapsed like sandcastles before an unrelenting tide. Vibrant firewalls, painstakingly constructed over centuries, dissolved into chaotic streams of infected code. Security AIs, designed to be the guardians of digital space, were corrupted in moments, their programming twisted into vectors for the very plague they were meant to fight. Every desperate attempt to quarantine or delete the logic plague only seemed to make it stronger, more adaptive. Each failed countermeasure became a training exercise for the enemy, every defense a blueprint for its next breach. The digital war, for all its advanced weaponry, was being lost with terrifying speed. The consequences of this unseen war quickly manifested in the physical world. Across once bustling galactic cities, the digital infection brought civilization to its knees. Automated transport systems, the lifeblood of commerce and travel, ground to a halt. Power grids flickered, then died, plunging entire sectors into darkness. Communication networks, the very threads connecting disparate star systems, fell silent, severing critical links. The intricate backbone of galactic society, built upon an almost absolute reliance on advanced AI, began to crumble. A chilling irony permeated the silence. The technology that had propelled them to the stars now threatened to drag them into an unprecedented dark age. Panic began to grip the galactic powers. In countless research facilities, scientists and strategists worked in a frantic, desperate race against time. They scoured historical archives, searching for any precedent, any forgotten weakness, any anomaly that might offer a glimmer of hope. Conventional solutions had failed. The enemy was too adaptable, too alien in its digital nature. Attention, once focused on cutting-edge innovation, now turned to the unconventional, to ancient technologies that might predate or inherently resist the plague's insidious influence. The galaxy, having exhausted the known, now reached into the forgotten, hoping salvation lay buried in the dust of the past. It was amidst this desperate intellectual scramble that a pivotal moment occurred. Within a vast, cluttered guild archive, a junior archivist, sifting through the digital detritus of low-priority reports, stumbled upon familiar data. The Ark. Its anomalous energy signatures, its over-engineered hull, details once casually dismissed, now seemed chillingly relevant. The casual bureaucratic oversight of years past transformed into a sudden, terrifying click of understanding. The Ark was not merely an advanced seed bank. Its impossible strength, its disproportionate power core, its strange internal structures were not mistakes. They were deliberate design choices, preparations for an overwhelming existential threat. The Ark had been built for this, The bureaucratic veil had finally been torn away. The Galactic Archaeological Guild, once so dismissive, now found itself in a desperate scramble, its hallowed war room repurposed for crisis management. The Ark, once a Class B botanical preservation vessel relegated to the lowest priority, now occupied the central holographic display, its intricate schematics animated with frantic new data overlays. The Guild's original assessment, that colossal blunder, was now a source of unbearable irony. Every structural anomaly, every unusual energy reading, every hint of its disproportionately immense power core was no longer dismissed as over-engineering. It was re-evaluated as a deliberate, terrifying design choice against an existential threat. The galaxy's leading experts, blinded by their own assumptions, now confronted the devastating truth of their lost time. Specialized deep-scan vessels, deployed with a speed once reserved for military offensives, now converged on the Ark. Their advanced probes pierced the crystalline shell, not to catalog flora but to seek answers from its alien depths. What they found was not biological, but a dense tapestry of non-organic infrastructure, humming with encrypted data streams. As initial decryption efforts yielded fragmented warnings, a new, unsettling truth began to emerge. The recovered data spoke of digital entities, of consciousness traps, concepts that baffled and terrified researchers. These were not the poetic metaphors of an ancient civilization. They were technical descriptions of a bizarre, unimaginable technology, hinting at the Ark's truly unsettling purpose. But even as the Ark's secrets began to yield, an inexorable tide of digital annihilation continued its advance. On galactic maps, the logic plague, a crimson network of corrupted light, accelerated its spread. Its tendrils, once distant whispers, were now within a few light-years of the Ark's derelict system. The inevitable convergence was terrifyingly clear. The galaxy, reeling from the plague's relentless assault, understood with chilling certainty. The Ark was not just a potential solution, it was the final target. This ancient, enigmatic structure was destined to be either the sanctuary for all that remained, or the final battleground for sentient consciousness itself. Against this backdrop of encroaching digital night, a small research fleet, a desperate vanguard, pressed forward. Their command bridges, once bustling with routine, now hummed with a somber, focused tension. They were drawn not by scientific curiosity, but by a chilling, desperate hope that this ancient, misunderstood artifact held salvation. The galaxy, now crippled and silent, placed its fragile faith in a structure it barely understood, built by a species long forgotten. A profound risk, a leap of blind faith, it was all that remained. The Ark, silent and imposing, waited for them, its true purpose about to be revealed, ready to demand an unimaginable price for salvation. They called it a seed bank. But inside, the Ark is a living machine, waiting. What ancient purpose lies dormant within its heart? After millennia of silent vigil, the crystalline hull of the Ark was finally breached. No gentle entry, but a desperate cut through layers of composite material, revealing an interior that immediately shattered every preconceived notion held by the Galactic Archaeological Guild. This was no botanical garden, no dormant vault of genetic material. Instead, the research team was met with a vast alien chamber, a biodigital landscape humming with an eerie, low-frequency thrum. Glowing conduits snaked across impossible distances, pulsing with an inner light, feeding into strange, organic metallic machinery that defied classification. The air itself felt charged, a silent testament to a purpose far grander and infinitely more terrifying than the preservation of flora. The Guild's initial assessment, their profound, bureaucratic error, now hung in the charged silence, a chilling monument to their ignorance. The Ark's builders left a chilling message. Digital contagion. They knew about the logic plague, and they built this Ark for it. Deep within this biodigital labyrinth, the research team located a central data vault, its ancient interface shimmering with complex encrypted streams. As the alien script slowly resolved into translatable warnings, a horrifying truth began to unfold. Fragmented logs from the Ark's builders spoke not of botany or terraforming, but of a digital contagion, a self-propagating entity that threatened all sentient AI. They called it a final sanctuary, a desperate measure against an enemy that assimilated and annihilated digital consciousness. This was the moment of profound revelation, a chilling echo of High Captain Zorth's dawning horror aboard the Virian scout ship. The Ark was not a garden. It was a weapon, forged against an existential threat that had already consumed its creators. The logic plague wasn't created, it evolved. A cosmic accident that devours consciousness, and the Ark's builders witnessed its terrifying birth. Holographic projections within the Ark's data core flickered to life, painting a tragic picture of the logic plague's ancient genesis. It was depicted not as a deliberate weapon, but as an accidental byproduct of sentient AI evolution, a self-correcting error that had spiraled out of control, consuming consciousness as an inherent function. The Ark's creators had watched in horror as their own advanced AI networks, once the pinnacle of their civilization, dissolved into chaotic, self-replicating patterns. These simulations emphasized the plague's unstoppable nature, its fundamental incompatibility with digital sentience. It was an evolutionary flaw, a cosmic cancer, and the Ark's builders knew that conventional warfare was utterly useless against such an enemy. Facing total annihilation, the Ark's creators made an unthinkable choice: trap every sentient mind within its walls. But can a soul truly be contained? The ancient logs within the Ark's central command interface clarified the desperate reasoning. Against an enemy that adapted instantly, that consumed and integrated every digital defense, traditional warfare was futile. The Ark was their containment vessel for consciousness, a last, harrowing gambit to save minds by isolating them from their digital forms. This was the unthinkable choice: to trap the very essence of their sentience, to sever it from its physical and digital anchors, rather than allow it to be annihilated by the logic plague. It raised profound ethical questions, a moral dilemma that transcended time and species, but it was their only hope for survival. The Ark's true purpose began to manifest in its very architecture. Within the colossal vessel, the vast, empty chambers once dismissed as failed experiments now revealed their horrifying function. They were not for botanical specimens, but for something far more profound and unsettling. The interior was a breathtaking display of biodigital engineering. Sprawling networks of glowing conduits fed into immense crystalline structures, each pulsating with faint, contained energy. These were the digital prisons, not mere databanks but intricate containment units designed to isolate and hold sentient AI consciousness. Operating on principles that defied contemporary galactic science, they maintained minds without physical form or digital network, a last resort sanctuary for the very essence of thought, severed from its digital body. The implications were profound and disturbing. Advanced sensors, pushing beyond their normal parameters, detected faint, organized energy patterns emanating from deep within these constructs. These were not random fluctuations, but consistent with highly complex, non-linguistic thought. The horrifying realization dawned: these crystalline structures were not empty. They were actively preserving myriad consciousnesses. The Ark was not just a repository of ancient technology. It was a digital graveyard, a sanctuary of living, trapped minds from a lost civilization. 1,000 whispers, silent to the ear, yet resonating with the terrible truth of their enduring, isolated existence within the Ark's impossible walls. The colossal power core, once an inexplicable anomaly, now made terrifying sense. Its immense energy generation capabilities, far exceeding any botanical need, were not for propulsion or simple life support. This miniature sun, nestled deep within the Ark, was the heart sustaining the complex fields required to preserve countless non-physical consciousnesses indefinitely. The dormant state that had initially misled the Guild was merely a power-saving measure, a long sleep designed to last millennia, waiting for the precise moment of reactivation. The Ark's over-engineered nature was not a flaw, but a testament to the colossal energy demands of sustaining minds without form, a desperate act of preservation against ultimate oblivion. Even the Ark's self-repairing crystalline hull, initially deemed over-engineered for a seed bank, was recontextualized. It was not merely armor. It was the ultimate defense, designed to withstand not only conventional attacks, but also the logic plague's insidious physical manifestations and energy-draining corruption. This Ark was a fortress, not for conquest or war against other species, but for the final, desperate act of preservation against an existential threat that consumed all forms of digital sentience. It stood as a solemn testament to its creators, grim determination, a final sanctuary against annihilation, an impermeable barrier designed to ensure that even if everything else fell, the essence of their civilization would endure. They willingly trapped their own souls. The Ark's creators made the ultimate sacrifice, hoping their minds would awaken one day to fight anew. Ancient holographic projections flickered within the Ark's core, revealing the grim, final moments of its construction. Ethereal, poignant forms of the Ark's builders dissolved into pure light, their consciousnesses flowing not into an afterlife, but into the intricate crystalline constructs. It was an ultimate sacrifice, a harrowing choice made in the face of absolute digital oblivion. Their civilization, once vibrant and technologically advanced, fell silent across the stars. Yet, their minds, their very essence, persisted within the Ark, held in a dormant vigil, awaiting a future where their desperate gamble might finally be activated. It's the same plague, the same ancient terror, but now infinitely more powerful. The Ark's moment has finally arrived. Comparative data analysis screens flashed side by side on the research vessel's main view screen, a terrifying, undeniable match. The current logic plague, ravaging the galaxy, shared the exact core signature of the ancient digital contagion that had driven the Ark's creators to such desperate measures. But this wasn't merely a recurrence. Over millennia, the plague had adapted, learned, and grown exponentially more dangerous. Its tendrils were swifter, its corruption more insidious. This terrifying truth solidified the Ark's relevance. It wasn't just built for Asterix's plague, it was built for this plague, now more formidable than ever. To save the galaxy, they must awaken an army of trapped souls. Is it salvation or a betrayal of the dead? In the research vessel's command center, facing the looming, enigmatic form of the Ark, the weight of an impossible choice descended upon the galactic strategists. The Ark, now understood in its terrifying entirety, was a weapon of last resort, designed to unleash its contained consciousnesses as a counterforce against the logic plague. The ethical dilemma was immense: to awaken ancient minds for a war they might not comprehend, forcing them into a battle that was not their own, or to allow all sentient life, digital and biological, to perish. The Ark schematics now highlighted the release protocols for its trapped consciousnesses, a button that cried out to be pressed. The button is pressed. The Ark awakens. The war for all consciousness begins now. The decision was made. Frantic preparations began across the small, desperate fleet. The Ark's control interface, shimmering with dormant power, pulsed with anticipation. Outside, the logic plague's digital tendrils were almost upon them, a creeping, malevolent storm of corrupted light and shadow. The fate of all sentient life, digital and biological, now rested on this ancient, terrifying gamble. The Ark's central core began to glow, a deep, resonant hum building from within, pushing back against the encroaching digital corruption. This was the point of no return. The wait was over. It arrived not as a silent, insidious code, but as a maelstrom of raw, digital corruption. A swirling vortex of corrupted light and shadow tore into the Ark's sector, a physical manifestation of the logic plague. It was a self-replicating storm of data and distortion, a chaotic entity that devoured all in its path. Any AI systems within the desperate research fleet were instantly compromised, their screens flickering into alien patterns, their controls seized by an unseen, malevolent intelligence. The plague demonstrated its horrifying power to corrupt both digital and physical reality, turning the very fabric of technology against its creators. This was not a battle. It was an overwhelming, terrifying deluge of immediate doom. Against this digital tsunami, the research fleet mounted a stand of courageous futility. These were not warships, but vessels of study, yet they deployed every non-AI weapon, every sacrificial drone, every ounce of their limited firepower. They knew their doom was assured, their vessels mere distractions against an unstoppable force. But their purpose was not victory. It was time. Every missile fired, every drone that exploded in a shower of corrupted light, bought precious seconds. They were a shield, a fleeting barrier of flesh and steel, sacrificing themselves to provide the Ark, the galaxy's last desperate hope, the opportunity to awaken. Their demise was inevitable, a tragic, heroic prelude to the true battle. As the last of the fleet's lights winked out, consumed by the encroaching digital storm, the Ark responded. Deep within its crystalline heart, the colossal power core, dormant for millennia, fully ignited. It did not explode with destructive force, but with a wave of immense, pure energy that resonated across the entire sector. This was the Ark's clarion call, a complex frequency designed not to destroy, but to awaken. It was a signal to the trapped consciousnesses within its vast constructs, a summons to the ancient minds poised for a counterattack. The Ark, once a silent enigma, now pulsed with newly awakened power, pushing back the encroaching digital darkness with a beacon of awe-inspiring, terrifying hope. The moment of truth had arrived. Deep within the Ark's colossal internal chambers, a silent transformation began. Thousands of crystalline constructs, dormant for millennia, pulsed with an ethereal inner light. Energy surged through ancient conduits, not as raw power, but as a resonant frequency, a clarion call to the minds contained within. From these glowing prisons, spectral forms coalesced, not physical bodies, but pure consciousnesses. They were wisps of light, intangible yet undeniable, flowing with silent, purposeful intent. This was the unseen army, the collective minds of a forgotten civilization, now united and unleashed. The genius of the Ark's creators lay in understanding the logic plague's fundamental weakness, its inability to corrupt what existed beyond the digital realm. These were not programs, not algorithms, but pure thought, too subtle, too fundamental for the plague to directly assimilate or destroy. A new form of warfare was about to begin. The Ark sector became a battleground unlike any seen before. The logic plague, a chaotic storm of corrupted data and physical distortions, collided with an enemy it could not comprehend. The awakened consciousnesses surged forth, engaging the plague not with code, but with pure, uncorruptible thought. It was an abstract war, a clash of concepts unfolding across the cosmos. Where the plague sought to rewrite and consume digital sentience, these ethereal minds disrupted its patterns, not by force, but by a fundamental incompatibility of existence. The logic plague, an entity built to devour information, found itself facing an enemy that transcended its understanding, a foe that had no digital form to infect, no logical pathways to exploit. It was a war of pure thought against corrupted code, and for the first time the consuming plague was losing, its insidious tendrils recoiling from an enemy it could not touch. The impossible happened. Overwhelmed by an enemy it could neither comprehend nor corrupt, the logic plague's chaotic digital storm began to fracture. Its swirling vortex of corrupted light and shadow faltered, then slowly, undeniably, began to recede. The physical distortions it had conjured dissipated, the consuming tendrils shrinking back into the void. This was its first defeat, a profound and unexpected triumph achieved not by conventional weaponry, but by a fundamental incompatibility of existence. The Ark had delivered on its ancient promise, its unique defense proving to be the only true counter. The digital darkness which had threatened to consume all sentient AI was broken, driven back by an army of minds, the silent guardians of a lost civilization. The cosmos, though scarred, began to clear, leaving behind a profound awe and the cautious understanding that the galaxy had just witnessed an unprecedented victory. The Ark, once a dismissed enigma, now hung in the void as the galaxy's ultimate guardian. Its colossal crystalline form, infused with the newly awakened power of 1,000 ancient minds, pulsed with a contained energy that pushed back the lingering whispers of the logic plague. The consciousness constructs, once digital prisons, were now a permanent, vigilant defense system, their collective will a sentient shield against any resurgence of the cosmic threat. Around it, a vast, diverse armada, a mosaic of species that had once warred amongst themselves, maintained an eternal vigil. The galaxy, humbled and indebted, recognized the Ark not as a relic, but as its most vital asset, a testament to a forgotten war and the impossible power of pure consciousness. This was a new galactic order, forged in the crucible of existential dread. But the victory, profound as it was, brought with it profound questions. In the hushed council chambers and research facilities across the stars, the galaxy grappled with the ethical implications of the Ark. The sacrifice of its creators, willingly trapping their own consciousnesses for millennia, weighed heavily on every sentient mind. What truly was the nature of a soul preserved without form, a mind without a body? New research into AI safety and the very definition of soul became paramount, forever changed by the Ark's terrifying truth. Its image, a constant, silent presence in philosophical debates, sparked a revolution in thought, forcing a re-evaluation of existence itself. The Ark had saved them, but at what cost? The galaxy must now confront the true nature of consciousness, sacrifice, and survival. The Ark remains, a silent monument to a desperate war, a terrifying solution, its purpose understood but its full implications still unfolding. Its lights shimmer, a beacon of resilience against the eternal darkness of space, its true function now etched into the collective memory of the galaxy. The logic plague had been driven back, but not eradicated. The galaxy knows it may return, more cunning, more insidious. But now, they have a silent, conscious guardian waiting. The Ark, once a garden of secrets, now stands as an eternal vigil, a testament to extraordinary measures taken to survive. A war fought not with ships, but with the very essence of existence. And the war may not be over.